I'm Itay. I'm co-founder and CIO here at Equi. One of the things I've been hearing from people lately, and actually not even lately, this has been a pretty recurring argument, was that there is a lot of cash on the sidelines. There is massive amounts of money, really into trillions of dollars, that is just sitting on the sideline, waiting to get into risk assets, waiting to get into real estate, which is a good reason of why things don't necessarily have the ability to go down too much. You may have heard this argument. I've been definitely hearing it for years. So I wanted to dig deep into it and see if there's any content to it. So looking at total assets and money market funds, you can certainly see that there has been an enormous jump in the total amount of money in money market funds post-COVID here. You see 2019, 2020, which is certainly true. One of the main reasons we heard this argument is that we've seen a pretty big jump in money market funds total assets around 2008, which makes sense, right? The world was, quote, coming to an end. The sky was falling. We had the global financial crisis. Everybody wanted the safety of cash. Then soon thereafter, all that money started coming back into the markets and risk assets in general, and stayed low for quite a while, actually, up until 2019. And really in 2020, there's been a pretty big move into money market funds. Some of it was just new money was created by the Fed. We all know this post the response to COVID, but that stayed up here. So that argument says, all this money will eventually get redeployed into financial markets, and it's just waiting for an opportunity. Now, what I think is lacking from that is the prevalent interest rate in the market. So if we quickly add the current federal fund rate to this graph, you're going to see something quite interesting. This is effectively what we know as the risk-free rate. So there was this flight to safety in 08, but then rates went to zero. So as they went to zero, the big argument of TINA, right, there is no alternative, really became the dominant narrative, where all this money is just going back into the market, and really there's no point for it to come out of the market because there's no alternative anywhere else. But in 2018, 2019, we actually saw a little bit of an increase in interest rates, which caused a tick up here because money could be parked in a risk-free type of way. Then we had COVID. We had just a slight drop out of it. But now you're almost getting paid 5% to sit out and wait this macro environment. For the first time in a very long period of time, you have almost a 5% risk-free rate in which you can just sit out a very nasty macro environment, watch the volatility, soft landing, hard landing, no landing. It's been a very long time since you were able to get paid 5% with no risk to just wait and see. So this is why I don't necessarily think that this money is rushing right back into the market. And a lot of it does depend on how the Fed will react, where interest rates are going to end interest rates are going to end the year. And this is really why it's important that if rates do drop and drop in a pretty drastic kind of way, a few months after, we may actually see this money market assets start coming back into markets. But I think it's really premature to make that argument. So I'll see you again next week for the next insight.